Flex your business with an American Express Business Gold Card. You'll earn 4 times membership rewards points on your top 2 eligible spending categories, like transit and electronics, each month, on up to $150K in combined purchases per year. Plus, you can now earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at AmericanExpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold, built for business by American Express.
Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. Sometimes the best part of gaming is just chatting with your buddies about the latest news, upcoming game releases, or diving into a fun topic like what's the best console of all time. It's the fun, lighthearted chat that gamers know and love, and that's what we do in these side quest episodes. Before we get into the show, though, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, he was nominated for the Most Improved Co-Host Award for 2024, but sadly it's 2025 now, so he missed out. It's Ryan.
Only one way to go now is down.
That was also not a jab at your sense of time, Ryan.
Yeah.
And that you have until, January 1st to claim this award, and then it just sat there because you were like, oh.
It wouldn't be the first time I've missed a deadline on something. That's for sure.
Ryan, I know I said this in our last episode, which if you have not listened, you absolutely must check out the most anticipated games of 2025 episode that just released. So make sure that's on your to-do list because it really got me hyped for everything that's coming out in 2025 now. And it's funny because we've been talking to a lot of people in our community, and it's weird because I think a lot of people kind of felt like we did, where they said, dude, I don't really know what I'm excited for in 2025. And then we kind of went, we've got the solution for that. That's that episode. So make sure you check that one out. But this episode, Ryan, is a side quest. I love these episodes, man. This is kind of how we got our start.
Yeah.
Just chatting about video games, man. Talking about the gaming world, what's coming up, what have you been playing and all that stuff. So these are a lot of fun, man. I really enjoy these episodes. But before we get into it, we got some people to thank, Ryan.
Yeah, this is the best part.
Man, listen. If you're the kind of person where you're like, dude, I don't like feeling left out of stuff, you better get on this hype train.
Yeah. Because
people have been signing up to support the show. I feel like we are reading names out left and right. And man, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
It's so good, man. The VGP train is rolling. You better hop on board. All aboard!
But we have 2 new rare supporters to thank. We want to send out a huge thank you to Bearded Butch and Timmy Boy, who both signed up for rare status, both in our Discord server. Awesome people have been chatting away. We say this all the time, but thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you for listening to this show. Thank you for supporting this show. It's incredible to see what 2 old... Yeah, Ryan, that includes you. Gamer dads have done in the gaming podcast world. We are up there with the likes of IGN and, all these other big websites and their little spin-off podcasts and all that stuff. But we're right up there with the big boys. We've done it with just a love of games. Maybe some silliness and some goofiness, but thank you to everybody that supports this show. Thank you, Bearded Butch and Timmy Boy, for going the extra mile and helping support the show.
Yes, thank you so much. And actually, it's a cool trend I've noticed lately, too, is I'll see people hop into the Discord, hey, everybody, blah, 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 and they join up, and then, 2 days later, blah, 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 signed up for Legendary, or not Legendary, but, Rare or Epic, and it's like, what? Awesome, man, this is so cool. They hop in, they see how good the community is, they see what we're actually we're not joking when we say how great it is in there, and then they sign up and get all the perks of it and everything. So it is really cool to see. I love it.
Yeah, it really is awesome. And so if you're not part of the Discord server, you really are missing out on an amazing gaming community. We actually just had a really, really fun night that we're going to talk about here in just a second. So I'm going to leave that little teaser there because, Ryan, I did promise on our last episode that we would read a couple reviews. You know, not only are people signing up to support the show, but they're also doing their part by rating the show 5 stars on Spotify. If they have an Apple phone, they're going into the Apple Podcast app and they are leaving us a written review as well. And we've been a little lax, so I've got 2 of those that we're going to read right now. This first one comes in from the Faptastic 4. And it's titled The Greatest Gaming Podcast. And it says, I downloaded Apple Podcasts just to leave this review since Spotify doesn't allow written reviews. Anyone reading this and wondering if they should give it a try should be warned. No other gaming podcast will ever feel as good as Video Gamers Podcast. Not only are the guys fun and make it feel like we're all just hanging out, but they're super active on their Discord and engage with the community constantly. You can check out their game leaderboards to know if your tastes align with either of them. And even though Ryan is wrong in thinking Red Dead Redemption 2 is better than God of War, hashtag Team Josh, he still has interesting takes once in a while.
Oh, I'll still say it is a very good review, but those are like 1A, 1B. It's very minute true. Difference for me.
They really are. As much as we love to wage that war, dude, like either one of those games, you're in gaming.
I just, like you recently found out, I wanted to be a cowboy since I was a little kid. So Red Dead just had that little bit of extra resonance with me that just sat well, but they're like perfect games.
Okay, not to get sidetracked, Ryan, but that's what we do on these. Like what was the video where somebody had like a revolver and they were spinning it? And
it was a Clint Eastwood, and I was like, I told them,
you chime up, and you're like, I could totally do that. And I called you out. I was like, no, you can't do it that well. 60 seconds later, we get a video that's shared in our Discord server of you just absolutely spinning this gun, like, I mean, way better than I thought like anybody had a right to do. And then I was like, okay, man, like you backed it up.
I may or may not use any chance I can get to show off my revolver skills, or I can spin a revolver pretty well. I'm not lying when I say it.
I thought you were gonna just kind of like spin it around your finger, and I like, you know, and I'd been like, yeah, I could do that, but no, man, this was actually legit like talent going on, and that's when I was like, dang it. He really did back it up.
Finally, I could back it up. I got receipts.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this other review and then we'll get into the show here. This one is titled Not Written by ChatGPT, and this one comes in from STK All Day. And it says, this podcast is a must listen for any gaming enthusiast. The hosts offer a perfect balance of insightful analysis and infectious enthusiasm, whether discussing big name titles or hidden indie gems. They make complex topics accessible without being overly technical, and their chemistry makes every episode feel like a fun, in-depth conversation. I particularly appreciate their deep dives and their commitment to giving the community the latest news in video games. Overall, it's an engaging, entertaining, and informative podcast that's perfect for gamers of all kinds. P.S. This review was not crafted with any help from ChatGPT whatsoever. P.P.S. My gaming tastes fall more in line with Brian's.
Oh.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Okay.
Yeah, you remember that whole John thing?
Yeah. No, that's great. And it honestly happens more than you can ever imagine. Maybe it's because I don't enunciate properly, but anywhere I go, anytime I ever order food, oh, what's your name, sir? That's Ryan. And they go, all right, Brian, thank you. And I'm just like, all right, thanks. I don't even correct them anymore.
Nod.
Yeah, I just go with it.
At this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I also have a sneaking suspicion that with words like infectious enthusiasm, this might have been written by ChatGPT.
No,
but you know
it said
what?
it wasn't. It said it wasn't.
Our AI overlords, if they love the podcast, hey man, what are we supposed to do?
There you go.
Yeah, all right, Ryan. You know, one thing that we always like to ask each other, especially when we kind of get into these side quest episodes, because again, this is just gaming chat, is what have you been playing lately?
Well, I've been just obsessively playing Marvel Rivals. which we'll talk a little bit, like you said, about a little community night we had. I just can't get enough of that game right now, man. I was not as big into Overwatch. You've probably played 10 times more Overwatch than I ever did. I never really was big into hero shooters, but this just has gripped me. I absolutely love it. I'm obsessed. And I can just hop in for 10, 15 minutes, play a match, and then get off if I have something to do. So it's been fantastic. And other than that, I've been doing a little bit of Indiana Jones. The whatever great super
the great
circle ring
the super,
thing, whatever
super
it is.
Great circle.
Whatever that great name is they have. I'm probably a third, maybe 40% of the way through it, but it's been pretty solid so far. I've enjoyed it.
I have seen a lot of really positive feedback about Indiana Jones, and it's caught me kind of by surprise. But then at the same time, it's like, it's Indiana Jones, baby.
Yeah.
Like, how bad could it be?
Yeah, right.
You know? So it that one does get me excited. It also gives me a little bit of the FOMO because I love Indiana Jones, and I didn't really have high hopes for that game. So, and then everybody saying like, yo, this game's super enjoyable makes me a little jealous.
Well, especially when it's free on Game Pass. So
yeah, that too. So I have also been playing Marvel Rivals. I will say that it is starting to get its hooks in me.
Nice.
To the where I'm craving playing it. Not just, I'll hop on if people are playing or something like that, but like last night, I had 20 minutes, and I was like, you know what? Let me hop in. I want to try this Black Panther character.
All right.
You know, like let me try this guy. And then before you know it, I was playing matches as Black Panther and getting wrecked and that kind of stuff. But you know, we teased it, but this is another reason why we always encourage people to join our Discord server. Is we kind of spontaneously had a community night where we had like 10 people. Like in voice chat, all playing Marvel Rivals together. And after we got past that like 6-person limit, we kind of went, oh man, we're gonna have to like split these groups and get like 2 full groups going. But then we kind of went, wait a minute, does this have custom matches? We very quickly figured out that it has a very robust custom match feature. Within minutes, baby.
Yep.
We're going up against each other. We have 2 teams. We are in a custom match, just going to town, fighting each other, having a blast.
That was so
I
good.
got to give you credit. I hate it, but you're pretty good at Moon Knight, Ryan.
I'm pretty annoying is what I am.
You're pretty annoying as Moon Knight. That was one. It was pretty funny because I'm pretty sure that you and I just ignored everything else and just tried to kill each other the second we saw each other.
Absolutely. I may or may not have just been seeking you guys out like the whole time. Any of the squishies.
Yeah, so that was an absolute blast, but we are really looking forward to doing that more, just because it lends itself to so many good, fun times with people. But yeah, Marvel Rivals is the hotness right now. I have also been playing just a teeny bit of a game called Path of Exile 2.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Now, I will say, in my defense, Ryan, I talked about this game for, I don't know, like a month straight. I brought it up every single episode.
Mega hype.
I haven't talked about it in a while. Now, that might be because we were on a break and we didn't have any new episodes, but that's not the point. So I checked right before recording. I have 94 hours.
Lord have mercy.
In Path of Exile 2. Jeez. So I would say at this point, I'm qualified to talk about the game. It is everything I wanted it to be. Like, legitimately, It is everything I wanted it to be. It is one of those games where, even though I'm 94 hours in, I feel like I could easily put in another 40 or 50 hours to reach, like, that peak end game content. I'm already in the end game. Like, I've experienced that, but, you know, it's like, I'm doing tier 10 maps is like the end game stuff, and it goes all the way up to, like, tier 18. So I have done a couple of those with some friends, but Path of Exile 2, I cannot recommend enough to people that think that they like that genre. Diablo, if you've ever played Diablo, Torchlight, Path of Titans, Titan Quest, something like that. There's been a ton of these. If you haven't played an action RPG in the vein of Diablo, this game is fantastic. It's difficult. It is super customizable in the number of builds. I literally just switched my character's build from one thing to another. I feel insanely powerful now, you know, all that stuff. So, Ryan, at some point, I got to get you in on this train, man, because you love Diablo. You love it, man.
I do.
And it's like, this is better than Diablo.
That's high praise, man. Those are big words, you know.
It really is. In my opinion.
Well, I was going to say, what would you say between the two is the most like Diablo? Like, what features are the most like Diablo, and what's the biggest difference that you noticed?
That's a really good question. They're similar in almost every aspect.
Yeah.
The loot drops the ping when a good piece of loot falls down on the ground. You kill they've got the semi-rare monsters that are just mixed in with the horde and have the kind of colored glow around them and stuff like that. I mean, this is 100%. If you were comfortable with Diablo, this is a clone of Diablo in that regard. Now, where it differs is in kind of the pacing and the intensity of the builds and the customization in this case. So, whereas Diablo is very click-festy and fast-paced, I would say that Path of Exile 2 is very intentional and slower paced.
Okay.
So I've kind of brought this up before, but like I just changed builds and it's a drastically different build than what I was playing before. And there's probably 8 other builds that I could try with. I'm playing a warrior. Whereas in Diablo, it was like, you get 2 builds and both of them are click your mouse as fast as you can. It's like, do you want to spit knives out in a 360-degree circle, or do you want to shoot a bow, in a cone shape in front of you and wreck everything?
Yeah.
And in Path of Exile 2, it's like, I'm now playing like a totem warrior where I summon these totems and then I can infuse those totems with skills. Before I was playing this like leap into battle and smash and stun everything. And then once everything was stunned, I could trigger like an explosion. And so the skills kind of combo off each other and stuff like that. I don't want to make this a Path of Exile 2 review episode. Trust me, this game is it is a phenomenal game. If it fully releases in 2025, which I'm not quite sure it will, it's an easy candidate for like a game of the year.
Oh, wow.
Legitimately, it's that good, dude. It is really a fantastic video game that you can lose yourself in. I had no idea I had 94 hours in this game.
That's a lot of hours for an early access game too.
Dude, and I'm still not done with the content either. Yeah. So people that are like, well, I'm worried about how much playtime I'll get, you'll get plenty. So
jeez, high praise from Josh.
It is really good. I kind of been wanting to talk about Path of Exile 2 for a little bit. So there you go, everybody. That's my little, 8-minute synopsis on that. So Ryan, we've got some topics and stuff that we're going to get into here now that we've gotten all the kind of introductory stuff out of the way. But I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break and then we can dive into the meat of this episode.
Oh, it's such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com right now and get up to 40% off select styles. Rules and restrictions may apply.
All right, Ryan, we're back. It's the beginning of January. Every gamer out there knows that February is when a lot of these big games are going to release. We've got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yep. We've got Avowed. I think Civ 7 or something else comes out in February. Honestly, I don't really care because those 2 games are enough for me for the month. But we're only at the beginning of January. So what are your gaming plans for the next month and a half until these games come out? Because we had such a busy 2024 that it was rare that we got to actually play the games we just wanted to play.
Yeah.
Versus it's another game release. We got to play this. We got to cover it for the show. And then, the second that one was recorded and released, we were on to the next game. So we're kind of in this rare situation where we know there's some really big games coming up, but they're not here for a little while.
Yeah.
So what are your gaming plans for the next month and a half?
Man, it's hard to say. I may have been known to have an addictive personality, and I am just so hard on Rivals right now. I'm not sure if I'll be able to pull myself away for anything else. There's a few other games that have caught my eye a little bit that I might try to do. I may try to finish Indiana Jones just to get it done and out of the way. But I don't know. It's just one of those things that, it is nice because, like you said, we get what a bad problem to have, I got to play this game, but it does become almost like a chore, almost like work. I have to get this many hours so I know what I'm talking about, and we can kind of tell everybody else with some sort of clarity on what we feel about the game. But man, to have this freedom, it's like, what? I mean, this morning, I hopped on, my son was begging me he couldn't beat Venom on the Spider-Man 2 because we had the difficulty cranked up. I'm like, I got you, bro. So we hopped on and we played a little bit of that because we have the freedom, man. We're free.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I think there is like almost like this weird guilt that we have when we complain about having to play video games.
Yeah.
You know? But dude, I mean, we are a very unprofessional professional podcast where it's like we take these things seriously, man. And it sometimes it is work.
Yeah.
There are times where I go to my wife and I just make like the stinky face and she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I gotta go play this game, man." And she's like, "Oh, you poor thing, you have to go play a video game." And I'm like, "You don't understand. This game sucks. I don't want to play it anymore."
What about you, bud?
It's weird because I know myself well enough. As much as I am absolutely loving Path of Exile 2, I think I'm approaching. I'm probably a week or two away from my brain just kind of going, I've done everything I want to do in this game. I've experienced the end game. I'm cool just shelving it until they fully release it, and then I'll pick up a new character and play that and all that stuff. So it's like I can see that coming for myself. But like I also mentioned, I'm kind of with you in that Marvel Rivals is really starting to dig its claws into me, and it's like I'm in that like I want to try to get good with Spider-Man. Oh no. I want to learn Black Panther because that guy's a pain in the butt, or that kind of thing. So I really am hyped for Marvel Rivals. And anybody that's been listening to the show for any length of time knows that I love hero shooters, and Overwatch 2 or just Overwatch in general is one of my most played games. So I think I'm with you in that I'm more than content to just kind of crack out on Rivals for the next month.
Yeah.
We've been getting groups of people together, and playing with friends is an absolute blast. I'm totally okay with doing that for the next 30 days or whatever until we get Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Heck yeah.
And then can dive into that one.
All right.
Well. It's nice having those comfort games, man.
It is, yeah. And you always, there's so many characters that there's always something new to try. And the content online, like all the reels and videos, is always somebody doing something you haven't seen. So you're like, oh, I want to try that. I saw the other day, Spider-Man's flipping off ledges out in the open and pulling guys off the map and then diving back. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I want to try that. And so there's just so much to do. And now we're turning it into a Rivals episode too. But I know. but I just, I think I'm going to be stuck on that for a little while. I mean, Hyper Light Breaker Early Access or whatever comes out in a couple weeks. So maybe we'll hook into that for a minute. But yeah, man, I think we got a little bit of time to just mess around.
I'm torn on Hyper Light Breaker. You know how hyped I am for that game, but there are a few games where I will actually intentionally just wait for the full release.
That's smart.
And that's one of those games I might just say, hey, I'm interested enough in this that I'm willing to wait, and then just have us dive in together and have fun with that one. So I'm kind of undecided though. I might just pick it up on a whim too. So who knows? So Ryan, brand new year. It's 2025. A whole year of gaming is ahead of us. What's your hope this year? If you had to say, hey, man, my hope for 2025 from a gaming perspective, whether it's personal, from an industry, from a specific game, whatever, you can make it whatever you want. But what's your hope this year from a gaming perspective?
Oh, man. So last year being my first kind of full year on the pod, I paid a lot more attention to things that I normally wouldn't in the gaming world, and played a lot more games that I wouldn't, even if they get kind of mega hyped and they're the hotness of the moment. Normally I stick to what I'm just cracked out on. So I hope we have another year like last year that was just full of so many surprises of just awesome, even if they're flash in the pans. Like last year was just such a fun year for all these types of surprise gaming experiences that we got to have. So I hope we get that again, man. I just enjoyed it so much. And then also just with games and everything, watching the pod grow, I just hope we keep chugging along and keep growing and keep just getting to experience all this awesome gaming talk that we have. So I'm stoked, man.
Yeah, I am too. I will say, I think if I had to boil it down to for like a game perspective, like 2024 was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I feel like other than Helldivers 2 and Astrobot, there weren't any of those like, oh my goodness, this game is the most amazing game I've seen in a long time. And so I kind of hope for that in 2025. If we get GTA 6, which let's be honest, isn't going to happen.
No.
But if we do, that could be the answer that I'm looking for. I really want that kind of generational game.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get it. Hopes are high right now. It's the beginning of the year, but I think for me, that's kind of what I'm looking for is this. I want that next Witcher 3 or, GTA 5 or Cyberpunk 2077, God of War. I want one of those this year.
So what would you say was the last one of those generational games to come out? The most recent?
Elden Ring for me.
Okay.
Now Elden Ring came out in what was it, 2022?
Something like that.
Somewhere around. It's been a couple years, but for me, Elden Ring's that game where it's like, dude, this game was made for me.
Yeah.
And I will continue to just sing the praises of Elden Ring to everybody because it is truly one of the best video games I've ever played.
For sure.
And so in recent memory, I think that's for me like that game that checks that box.
Nice.
As much as like Astrobot is amazing, and that's no slander to Astrobot or Helldivers, but it's like you do get these generational type games.
Yeah, it's not on that level. Like Elden Ring,
exactly. So
nice.
All right. And then, since we're talking about 2025 and we're kind of doing this look ahead kind of preview thing, we just had our most anticipated games of 2025 episode. We talked about that. What game? Plant your flag, Ryan, right now. And I know there's going to be games that get announced and released in 2025 that we have no idea about. So it's like, as of this moment, plant your flag. What game do you think has the best shot at Game of the Year?
So I'm going to give you two because as you just mentioned, you really don't think that GTA 6 is going to come out.
I know.
If it does, guaranteed insta-lock of the year. That's going to be, that generational game we're looking for sure. If not, I really think Ghost of Tsushima was such a good game and it had so many layers and levels to it and it was so beautiful and crisp, and having that under their belt with coming now with Ghost of Yote, I am just beyond excited for that, and I think it has a really, really good chance to show well. So, that's where I'm going to go.
That's a good pick, man. I don't see a world where they mess this up, to be honest.
The
I really
first was just so good, and then now they can just expand on it. They know what's good, what's bad, what to do, what not to do. Like
they've had time.
Yeah,
this is not a rushed job.
Yeah.
Like, we have to get this sequel out really quick, kind of thing. Either I'm gonna plant my flag on Avowed.
Okay.
I think it looks like a Skyrim-esque type game. I think from the previews that we've seen, from the hype that we've heard about these kind of closed door previews that people have gotten, I think it is going to be the game that I'm hoping for. It's weird because I'm a little disappointed that they said it's like a 25 to 30 hour game.
Yeah.
But then we're always talking about stop fluffing games with artificial time sinks and stuff like that. Like, just give us this crafted experience and I'll be happy. So if I had to plant my flag, which I'm doing right now, I'm gonna plant it on Avowed. I might look like an idiot, in 2 months, but that's my hope so far for this year.
That'll be good. We'll see. And you can always, 25, 30 hours, you can easily turn into 40 or 50 just with a little bit of exploration,
Yeah, exactly. Or just looking around. I always take longer on games than like the time to beat stuff says.
Me too,
I don't know if it's like I just tend to poke around a little bit more or get distracted or what. So, all right. Well, Ryan, we do have one news story that we have to talk about real quick. This isn't much, and we generally don't talk about just rumors on the internet, but this one.
Yeah, this one.
This one has a little bit of legs behind it. So we got a very cryptic tweet from Mike Shapiro, who was the voice of the G-Man in the Half-Life series. So very recognizable voice.
Oh yeah.
Where he posted a video, and it's just some motion graphics. There's really nothing to see there, but it is in the G-Man voice, and it is hinting at something coming this year. And the world lost its mind. And I do have to give credit to one of our listeners, DK Matt, good friend of the show, awesome guy, because he was chatting in our Discord server and said, I just posted something about Half-Life 3. How is the world not losing its mind right now? And I went, what? Half-Life 3? And then my very first response was, it's a rumor, it'll never happen. So I just kind of blew it off. And then he was like, I don't know, man. So you listened to this trailer, right?
I did. How long was that again? Was it like
the trailer?
Yeah, or no, the
like,
little clip, like 30 seconds or something.
It's like 30 seconds. You could probably play it.
I was going to say, I did listen to it, but I was going to say, if I can, I'll try to put it in for everyone else to hear listening. So I'll try to clip it in right here.
Another year already. Good to see and hear from so many of you. May the next quarter century deliver as many unexpected surprises as did the millenniums first. And again, time is fluid, like music. See you in the new year.
Okay, well, that worked or it didn't.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, dude. I've been waiting for Half-Life 3. Dude, it's been 20 years. Half-Life 2 came out in 2004.
That's bananas,
2004, dude. Man. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things. I am all big on the FOMO and getting hyped. I love to just get excited for things and the anticipation. This is one where I will believe it when I see it. When it is coming out and it's going to release, then I will join everyone. Maybe I'll miss a train, but I'll be playing the game on day one.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing too. I did get excited, and hearing that voice again was like, oh man, this is a kick right in the nostalgia. Why would he post this? Like, are you just trying to like upset people? If this is not Half-Life 3, what are you doing, man?
Standalone G-Man game.
Yeah, exactly.
G-Man origin story.
Again, it's just rumor that it does exist. There is the audio for it. If Ryan was successful in clipping it in, great. If not, you'll just have to find the tweet. But it does beg the question, Ryan. Let's just dream for a second. If Half-Life 3 was announced this year, it's June, right? We get to the the big conferences, right? Like the big announcements. They don't do E3 anymore. I forget what all the different shows are, right? But it's like, oh my goodness, the world just lost its mind. Half-Life 3 is actually announced for release in 2025. Is there, or can you name a game that is a bigger named game or release than Half-Life 3?
Oh man, I think that probably the only thing that could beat it would be GTA 6, just because of its recognizability and just more people that aren't gamers are going to play Grand Theft Auto than gamers that are anticipating. I think the anticipation and the desire for Half-Life 3 is probably more like. Fans of Half-Life,
20 years,
yeah,
like
20 years. Yeah. Fans of the series are so excited if this actually happens. They are craving it. They've been begging for it for 20 years, 2 decades. So I think that they will be ravenous and ready for it. But I just think GTA just has that kind of bigger base. So that, and it's been a long time for GTA 2. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but they've stayed current with GTA Online and stuff.
That's
too.
true.
Like younger gamers. They've heard of Half-Life, but they have no idea.
Well, like you said, DK Matt, he never even played it. He hasn't played 1 or 2, so he's going to go back and play Black Mesa first, which I recommend. It's all modded up, so it's a little bit more current for you. Half-Life 2 plays still just fine. It holds up well. Very, very awesome. So, man, now you got me excited. What am I doing?
I was just about to ask, right? Like we just did our, most anticipated games. We're talking about 2025. There is a world where we get GTA 6 and Half-Life 3 in the same year, dude. Like, I was just talking about this generational game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Generational
if we
year.
got GTA 6 and Half-Life 3 in the same year?
Freaking Hawkeye, don't give me hope.
Don't. Don't what? Don't give me hope.
Yeah, I know, man. Oh my goodness. All right, I don't want to. I'm getting all hyped
Well, I know
up,
what I'm going to
man.
do
I
in
don't wanna do
January
that to
now.
myself.
I'm going to play Half-Life 1 and 2. Thanks.
All right, Ryan. Let's get into a host question. This one's fun. What are some of your gaming pet peeves?
Ooh.
And this could be anything that is just specific to you, and we'll just start off with one and we'll see how that goes. But what's a gaming pet peeve for you?
So I am very strongly opinionated on this one. When I'm escaping the world, Earth is hard enough. We got enough going on, family, kids, jobs, all that stuff. I want to get away from the world, get away from reality. And I'm playing this fantastical character. Why do I have a stamina bar? I am an all-powerful wizard. I can conjure flames. I can tame beasts. I can control the elements. But don't make me run up a hill because after 15 steps, I'm breathing heavy and, I have to slow down. Or, oh no, I'm over-encumbered. I'm holding too much. Come on, man. That's the first thing on any, type of game that I can mod and they have mods for. I'll turn off stamina bar or I'll turn off, the weight limiter and stuff like that because I hate it.
Your disdain for the stamina bar is legendary, dude. It really is.
Oh,
it's
it drives
the
me
first
nuts.
thing you say.
Yeah.
I've heard this come out of your mouth so many times.
2 swipes with the sword, and then I'm like,
it doesn't bother me.
Come on,
I don't know why.
Well, you like the tactical nature and the reality of the fights and doing that. That's why you like turn-based. I want to go and just kill stuff, man.
It makes sense. I think for me, it's another challenge of how do I manage this resource properly so that I can do what I need to do while accounting for that. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that one because, like I said, I don't mind them, but I also see your point of view. I'm going to go a little bit more from a broader kind of perspective because it's something that I see more and more. And maybe this is just that I generally handle our social media account for the most part. But and this is something that we've always been very clear on. I get probably unreasonably annoyed when everybody when somebody is afraid to just call a game out for being bad.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things where if you're a gamer and you have been a gamer for any length of time, you have played bad video games. You have had your hopes dashed by Battlefield 2042, or Dragon Age Veilguard or
Pacific
something
Drive.
like that. Yeah, Pacific Drive for you, And it's one of those things where it's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to say, hey, I did not like this game. This game sucks. And I see it more and more online with people where it's they can never say something bad about a game, no matter how bad the game is. Yeah. And it's oh, well, the game might have missed on this topic and this topic, but the developers tried really hard to make a good game.
Yeah. That's the thing they always, think about the devs. They tried so hard. This is their job,
And maybe it's I'm old crotchety old man.
No.
You know what I mean? And we weren't always polite growing up, to people and stuff like that. But it's stop it.
Yeah.
It's a bad video game.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay to they just didn't do a good job. Not somebody built your house. You can't, and you got your walls falling off and the light switches don't work. Say, well, they tried hard. This light switch works. You go, no, this isn't good. This is not what's supposed to happen.
Exactly. And I am not trying to say that my opinion is right and other people's opinions are wrong. That's not what I'm trying to say at all, because what works for one person from a game perspective may not work for me, and that's A-okay.
Yeah.
But not every game is a heartfelt attempt to make a game good. And you can't ever give it less than a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And it's no, dude, if you're a gamer, you have played bad games. Don't be afraid to say a game sucks, because that's an honest opinion at that point.
No, that's totally fair. It's same with movies. Guys will take sometimes people take roles just to get a paycheck, and their heart's not in it. And it's not a good movie. You can say it. It's just not a good movie,
Yeah. Yeah. And just because, like I said, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that I love it, And again, stop trying to tell people they're wrong for their opinions. That's another thing that kind of goes hand in hand with that. But I hate the fake nicety, I guess, where it's oh, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so I'm not going to say anything mean. And it's dude, it's okay to have an opinion.
Yeah, you're not being personal. You're talking about, you're a consumer. You purchased this or you are trying it out and it's okay, this isn't good. And here's why. And then you can move on from there and get better.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why that's, like I said, maybe it's because I've been spending more time on social media, but I just call it out, man. It's okay. So all right, Ryan, we're quickly running out of time on this episode, but we have to have a debate here.
Oh, okay.
And when we have to have a food question, because it wouldn't be a side quest episode if we didn't.
This is true.
This came up on our Discord server, but this is funny because this actually came up at my job like a month or two ago. And here's the question. When it comes specifically to Chips Ahoy, nothing more American than a Chips Ahoy cookie, right? Classic Chips Ahoy. What's better, the Chips Ahoy Classic or the chewy Chips Ahoy?
So I'm definitely not the biggest sugar connoisseur or cookie guy, but there's one thing that I do like in, I guess, the pastry sugary world is chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah,
I am a glutton for punishment with those. So I don't know how many chewy versions of the Chips Ahoy I remember having, but I do know they
come in the red container. That's how you tell them apart. Okay, they have like the red, whereas the
standard
the other
Chips
one
is
Ahoy
the blue.
The blue.
Yep. Okay, so I know I've had 10 million in the blue, and if there's a container of those in the pantry, more often than not, I'm grabbing a stack, like a stack of poker chips, and I'm walking over to wherever I'm watching TV or doing whatever, and those suckers are gone in a few minutes. I would say for me, the kind of the when you bite into the crunchy one, it's got that pop to it. Yeah, that little pop when you bite it. Like it's just a good flavor to it, and it's good kind of taste and texture. So if I was going to pick one, I would say the classic.
Your opinion's wrong, Ryan.
Hey, look at me. I'm not the sugar guy. I don't know. You
picked regular Chips Ahoy.
I will take it all day long. I'm not the one you're going to ask for sugar recommendations for sure.
All right, so I jokingly, I am on the other side. I think chewy Chips Ahoy are better. Okay. I like the chewiness of them. It's like a texture thing. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. I will eat the heck out of some regular Chips Ahoy too. Yeah. So this is not slanderous against like just your classic Chips Ahoy, but if you have them right next to each other, I'm going to reach for the chewy and go, ooh, chewy Chips Ahoy. So this became a huge debate at my work.
Yeah.
And we actually had both in the pantry because we like our treats there as well. And so we brought them out and everybody ate one of each. And we were very split on which one was better.
Oh, wow.
And like guys like to do when we're being dumb and just arguing with each other, we turn this into kind of an argument and a competition in a sense that like I needed to prove that chewy Chips Ahoy were better than your classic Chips Ahoy. So we brought science into it, Ryan.
Oh, here we go.
I have to preface this a little bit. What tastes better, steak or broccoli?
Steak.
Okay. Which has more calories?
I do love broccoli, though. But
I actually like broccoli, too. But which one has more calories, Ryan?
Steak?
Yeah, okay, steak, right? Okay, so what tastes better, a cookie or a carrot?
Cookie.
Okay, so cookies have more calories in them, right?
I would think so, than a carrot.
Yeah. So all this to say that the higher the calorie content of something, the more delicious we generally tend to think it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is a proven fact. Okay. Humans, we want fat, we want butter, we want sugar. Our brains are wired to say, that's delicious.
Survive.
Okay. You're
calories.
weird in that you don't like sugar that much, but you would still prefer meat over a carrot or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or butter, for instance. Butter? Delicious.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, of course. Butter's very high calorie, which is one reason we think it's delicious. So, to solve the issue of the debate between the classic Chips Ahoy and the chewy Chips Ahoy, using our very scientific method of saying, hey, whatever has the higher calorie content is the more delicious thing. We looked at the calorie content. Now, they are close, but chewy Chips Ahoy are higher calorie content than regular Chips Ahoy, thus proving that they are the more delicious cookie.
Bill Nye the Science Guy right here. Yep.
You can't argue with science, man.
That's true, man. You can't argue with science. That's our inherent nature. We just want the calories to survive and continue on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess chewy it is.
Proof. Now, chewy Chips Ahoy.
Okay, so Chewy wins. Now I have a cookie question for you, real quick. I know we're out of time, but what is the best Girl Scout cookie?
Oh, the Samoas, dude.
Oh, get out of here,
dude!
Coconut's
the coconut
disgusting.
and caramel in those things.
Coconut
with the
is
chocolate.
so gross.
No, dude, I love coconut. The Samoas. Now, Thin Mints are a close second.
Thin Mints
because you can eat you got to put them in the freezer, and then you got to pull out that sleeve, and you eat the entire sleeve.
That's exactly what I do. I feel a little called out right now, but I will. So my wife actually bought a box of like 12 boxes of the mini boxes of Thin Mints the other year, and I'm like, why did you do this? She's like, I thought you'd like it. You love these. I'm like, well, yeah, but why did you do this? Now they're going to be gone in like a month. Like, why would you do this to me? So I ended up, I wouldn't put them in the freezer because I knew if I did, I would eat them. So I like left them away there in the pantry. And then every once in a while I'd go and I'd put them in because I have no self-control. Let's be honest. I'm a big kid. Like I'm just a infant child that just wanders this world. So yeah, it's, I don't like coconut though. So
see, I love
Samoas are just
and it's the texture. They've got that kind of dense chewiness and a little bit of cookie crunch.
Gee, you like chewy again? I bet they have more calories too.
I bet you they do. That's the proof right there, Ryan.
Right there.
You know?
They're chewy and they have more calories. Josh loves it.
Okay, because I know the listeners are going like, no, but regular Chips Ahoy are better. You find me a food. Find me two foods. And one that's lower calorie and one that's higher calorie. And if you can convince me that the lower calorie food is more delicious, maybe I'll change my opinion. But it's impossible. You cannot do it.
I bet chips are lower calorie than cookies, and I love chips more.
But okay, one chip though. So you do kind of have to get in the same volume.
Well, the serving size, we'll do. I'll go weigh them. I'll get my little food scale and we'll weigh each.
I bet you if you have a gram of chips and a gram, but that's just comparing sweet and salty though. That's not saying like the food as a whole. Like there's a preference there, but talking about food as a whole,
calories
if one
or
food
flavor
has less calories than the other food,
how did you guys even come up with that? Like,
be delicious.
How did you guys come up with that?
Dude, we're deep thinkers, man.
Oh my goodness. You know? Yeah. Honey, why are you late from work today? Oh, well, we got into some work stuff it was just work stuff, honey.
Yeah, we're really breaking things down.
Anyways,
going deep on that research.
Anyways, on the grocery list, can you put a Chewy Chips Ahoy, please?
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, hey, I've called it. If you can prove me wrong, come to our Discord server. I'd love to argue with you about this. But it's settled. Chewy Chips Ahoy are the superior cookie based on science alone.
Chewy wins.
There you go.
Science rules.
All right. That's Ryan. Somehow it's 45 minutes into this episode, man.
My gosh.
I know. So we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode. Thank you for supporting the show. Hey, if you're new and you haven't done it already, open up your podcast app, click that follow button, click that plus button, whatever that button is that adds our podcast to your home screen on your podcast app. That's what you want to do. If you have not rated us 5 stars on Spotify, please take a second to do that. If you're on Apple, you can write a written review, and there's a very good chance that we will read it on the show. If you aren't already following us on social media, we do post game news, game stories, just silly things like that. @VideoGamersPod is our handle on every social media platform. And you know what? We have been reading off a ton of names for supporters of the show lately, like we did at the top of this episode. So once again, thank you, Bearded Butch and Timmy Boy. But if you want to be a hero to the world and be like all these other awesome, amazing, incredible people that help bring this podcast to everybody out there, you can support the show over at multiplayersquad.com. You can sign up for as little as $5 a month. It goes an awfully long way for keeping this podcast going, keeping things rolling smooth, and helping us bring this content to the world. So head over to multiplayersquad.com. We'll we'll shout you out on the show. We'll say thank you, and you get some cool Discord perks. You also get early access and ad-free episodes, so you don't have to skip ads anymore if you do that too. That's it for this episode, Ryan. Let's go play some Marvel Rivals. Buddy.
Yeah, let's do it.
And until next time, happy gaming.
See ya. Oh, wait, I'm going to do this instead. Hold on. The moon haunts you.